2022.
Do you want, excuse me, just 1 second. Is everyone planning on joining?
Yep. Yeah,
So,
the whole team?
Yeah, why don't we give it just 2 or 3 more minutes? Just so
Okay.
that, because it's only like 6:02, so.
Yeah. All right, we'll give another minute or so. And I appreciate everybody jumping on a Tuesday evening. You're all local, so you'll know how it's freezing out this evening, except for you, Lisa. I don't know what
How
it's
is
like
it
in
there?
Chicago.
How is it in Chicago?
It's frigid.
Yeah, it's consistent. So Nelson that we're waiting on is in Atlanta. So we'll see what his weather report is.
Yeah.
And actually, everyone, you'll be on mute for the portion of the presentation, and then we'll take you off mute for Q&A. But if you do have any questions, feel free to interrupt. It's all good. We just put you on mute for now.
All right. Here we go. Do we have Nelson on? Yes, Nelson. Nelson, can you hear us? And we have Nelson on mute. Let me just go over.
Yeah, there we go. Now we can at least all be together.
Okay. Well, welcome everybody. Team Hope 2022 Boston Marathon. We are very excited to have you all here. You've all been selected carefully due to your athletic ability and your passion for our community and your ability to raise funds and support Hope's programs and services. So I just want to welcome everybody aboard. I'm Paula Brabants. I'm the event manager at Hope. And we also have Katie Spencer, Director of Marketing and Communications on board, Karen Smizer, Senior Director of Stewardship and Development. And we have a special guest who is Lisa Cowgill. She is our 2-time Team Hope Marathon athlete last year and the year prior. So she's jumped in and she also wants to welcome you aboard. So we'll get you started by the team introduction so you know who we are. And Katie will take everybody off of mute. And Lisa, if you want to just start telling us a little bit of background, where you're from, your Team Hope Marathon experience, and welcome to the group.
Sure. My name is Lisa Cowgill. I originally am from Boston, from the North Shore. I'm currently living in Chicago with my family. I have ran the Boston Marathon 2 times now, as Paula has mentioned. Excuse me, I'm recovering from COVID, so I'm a little under the weather. I've ran a total of 5 marathons. I love the folks at Hope. I have a son who is on the spectrum, and so being close to Hope's mission, you know, it's a very personal journey for me. And I'm really excited to welcome you all to the 2022 running of the marathon. I'm excited to see what you're all going to do.
Katie, if you just want to say hi to put a name to a face.
Yeah. So I'm Katie Spencer Johnson. As Paula said, I'm the Director of Communications and Marketing for Hope. This is my 2nd round with Team Hope. And I joined in August of this past year. I am a 2-time marathoner, and I run half marathons as well. So I'm super excited to work with everyone and see what your training is like, and of course, support you in fundraising as the marketing professional for Hope. Karen. Oh, Karen, you're on mute.
Karen.
Did you unmute me?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, we're gonna be take 2 here. Hello, and good evening, everyone. It's wonderful to be able to have this platform, at least to come together to greet you, to welcome you, and to exchange just connect the names with the faces, and be here just to be able to share a little bit about our organization, but also as the Director of Development and Stewardship, My role will be to provide you with some good fundraising tips, to be there of support whenever you need it. And we're just delighted to be here with you.
Great, thank you. Zoe, if you want to be next, I see that you're on mute though, so if you want to unmute that and say hi.
Hi,
There we go.
I'm Zoe Smith. I'm originally from the South Shore and I just moved to Boston, and this is going to be my first marathon ever, except I have done the Falmouth Road Race twice. And I actually attended Stonehill. And while I was there, I was able to volunteer all 4 years at the Hope House.
Mhm. Through the Best Buddies program, is that right, Zoe?
Yes.
Yeah, and so we have an ongoing partnership with Stonehill College's Best Buddies group, and they buddy up with one of our members, and it's, a wonderful program. We rely on them, and we're always really happy to see them. As you know, House of Possibilities is located on the Stonehill College grounds, and we'll tell you a little bit more about that after. And then Dieter, if you want to say hi.
Yeah, my name is Dieter Reuth. I'm originally from Germany. I lived for 13 years in Portland, Oregon, and supported the Children's Cancer Association there for several years. I've run 7 times Chicago, but it's going to be my first Boston Marathon. I once ran 20 miles on the route last year during my training, so I know that it's much more challenging than Chicago.
Yeah, great.
And yeah, but I really look forward to being part of the
you.
team.
Thank you, Dieter. And then Nelson.
Hey, everybody. My name's Nelson Tyrone. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I may be the lone Southerner on this group. I really appreciate you letting me be involved. I'm a birth injury lawyer in Atlanta. I represent families of kiddos who are injured during labor and delivery. That means that all of our kiddos end up with a diagnosis of cerebral palsy and are profoundly engaged. And so this is what Hope does is really dear to my heart. I didn't find out about Hope until I started researching for this race, but I imagine our kids, I hope that our kids have the opportunity to be in places like Hope. I am, I'm an athlete. I was recovering from an injury right before I got accepted to this team. So I'm probably behind y'all on my training, but I'm working hard. Got a 12-mile run coming up, or 14 miles on Saturday. And I've only competed one marathon by itself, but I competed in some Ironmans years back. And so I'm familiar with being uncomfortable and being in pain. And so I'm hoping that will get me to the finish line.
Thank you so much. We're so happy to have you here. And then Didier, we can't see you.
Yeah, sorry about that. Let's see, get the see if that work.
There you go.
Sorry, I'm juggling between a work computer and personal computer, so I apologize for that.
No worries.
Not sure if my camera works. Didier Weitzman. I grew up in Switzerland, Geneva, and been in
Yep, your sound just went off on us a little bit. I'm so sorry. Can anybody else hear him?
No,
Yeah,
still can't
I
hear.
can't hear you, Didier.
Is that better?
A little bit more? Yeah,
There
you
we go.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. Having
No
some
worries.
technical difficulty there. Yes, sorry. Yeah, I grew up in Geneva, Switzerland, moved in the Boston area in 1989. I've been there since then. Been my 7th marathon, I think, 2nd Boston. Still try to get a good result in Boston. It is a tough course.
Yep. When did you run Boston again?
About 4 months ago in October.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay, I see. So you're fresh off the marathon course.
yes, fresh out of it, yeah.
And you're going for it again. Well, great. We're thrilled to have all of you. And like I mentioned earlier, you were carefully selected. You found your way to Hope, and we're going to fully support you on this journey. We're very excited to have you on board, and I think it's going to be a great year to run the Boston Marathon, coming out of everything we've been through the past couple of years and the virtual pivoting, and we're looking forward to, hitting the ground running, so to speak. So, Katie, if you wouldn't mind advancing over to the About House of Possibilities slide, I'll just give you a quick review about the House of Possibilities. So,
Want to just turn it on full on presentation slide?
Oh yeah, Katie, you got the whole screen.
Yeah, just the presenter's view. That's better. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Karen. There we go. So House of Possibilities is also known as HOPE. And HOPE operates an 11,000 square foot home-like facility. We're located on the Stonehill College grounds. We run a variety of programs for children and adults with varying disabilities, including day programs and social and recreational programs and overnight respite, which has been really important to, it's one of our flagship programs. It's been really important to families to be able to bring their children to a safe place that they know they enjoy, and then have some time aside for their other kids and for their marriage, or away from the demands, as you know, that a person with disabilities can need. And so most recently, Hope Unlimited has opened up, and Hope Unlimited is a shop that features artisan works from local and artists across the country. Our members work there, and anything that gets sold at the Hope Unlimited, any artworks, a portion of those sales go to support our programs and services. So we're expanding, we're integrating workforce development for our members. They're getting training and practical hands-on work-related experience through Hope Unlimited. In addition, we're expanding our footprint. We're building a pavilion on our grounds right next to the building, and that will serve as additional space for our members and for our events. It will be basically a 3-season area where our members can be out and outside of the building, outside of the confines due to the pandemic. We wanted to find other ways to engage our members in an outdoor space, and so our pavilion is nearly completed. So we've got a lot going on. We have a lot of growth, and there's a lot of excitement and energy about Hope these days, despite the challenges of the past couple of years. And we'll move over to the Team Hope Resources Welcome Kit and Content Calendar. So this might look a little bit familiar, very familiar to Lisa Cowgill, who you just met, our 2-time Team Hope Marathon athlete. This is Lisa on the cover, crossing the finish line of the Boston Marathon last year. So this is our welcome kit and content calendar. We sent that out to you on December 30th. And within this, you'll find basically all the information you need to speak about Hope for your fundraising efforts, our mission, vision, who we serve. There's a table of contents in there. You'll have some social media assets, some fundraising tips, our hashtags, basically everything that you need to promote your fundraising efforts and to speak on behalf of House of Possibilities. So while we're on this slide, does anybody have any questions or need additional information about this content? Pretty self-explanatory. I think that the team did a great job pulling it together. If you do have any questions on anything in the welcome kit or need anything beyond the welcome kit, please feel free to reach out to me at any time. I'll be your primary point of contact. We're a tight team. We all work together and collaborate on this, but I'm here as a resource for you if you need anything further. And we can move down to the Team Hope Athlete Experience. And here, Lisa will just give you a little bit more background on how she's aligned with Hope and what her experience has been running on Team Hope.
So it's been such an amazing experience for me, not just the first year, but also the second year as well. We had the opportunity with Hope members to do a virtual marathon because, COVID, and I wasn't able to travel to Boston to run on the course, even with my team member, who happened to be in North Carolina at the time. And so Team Hope was able to set up a virtual call for us. And so we had family members dial in. It wasn't the entire 4 or 5 hour timeline. It was every hour on the hour for about, Paula was what, 5 minutes? It was, hi, how are you? Talk to you in an hour.
It was basically a Facebook Live session that was scheduled, and everybody would just jump in at their water stop. scheduled water stops for
Yeah.
for family members and friends and supporters to see their athletic runners on their own virtual courses. So Lisa was in Chicago. The teammate that Lisa's referring to, Jesse, was in North Carolina. So we crossed time zones in states and brought everybody together to support and cheer them on across the finish line. It was a pretty interesting pivot.
It's hard enough to run a marathon as it is, but to run a marathon by yourself without the crowds or anything like that, that's hard. Throw in bad weather and, you know, having something to look forward to every hour. That year was a lifesaver for me, because running in the rain, I was like, oh my gosh, I just got to get through this. This is so much fun. Oh, I have to call in. This is great. I don't know what everyone's fundraising experience is, but for me, one of the takeaways that I had over the last couple of years was trying to connect Hope's mission to your audience, and making it, you know, why should they care about donating to Hope? You know, what's in it for them? If you can find a way to connect those two things together, you know, maybe someone you know at work happens to have either a child or a relative that may have special needs, that maybe you can pivot and have that conversation come up organically. For me, it was really easy, just because, as I mentioned before, I have a son. So a lot of what I had shared on my posts, you know, I used Facebook, I used Instagram, a couple of times I used LinkedIn. I had shared his experience and how the programs at Hope would, if we were in town, they would have benefited him. That's just the way that I happen to approach it. Because of COVID, we weren't able to do a lot of in-person fundraising events. So if that I can't speak today. If in-person fundraising things are more your thing, I would say go for it. But the biggest thing is knowing your audience and understanding how to engage them into, you know, your fundraising efforts and Hope's mission. I would say that's a really key piece of all of this.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa. That's so true. So you all have your own unique reasons why you chose to run on Team Hope, and we've selected you for those reasons. So that's what's going to elicit an emotion with your network and your supporters. So whatever you can speak of passionately that aligns with our mission, vision, and values, which are all in that welcome kit, that's the approach that you'd want to take. People understand that that's your passion, and those people in your network want to support you and you're passionate in your efforts. We can, in a couple of weeks, if you're interested, and I'll follow up after this meeting in an email, bring together Lisa and maybe another one of our runners, Chiami, that you also see in that photograph with Lisa. And if you're interested and you're available, we can have a panel discussion on their experience, fundraising, training, and crossing the finish line. And C's always shaking her head. That sounds good. So we can touch on that, you know, in an email after this meeting and schedule something in the coming weeks. If that's something you're interested in doing, Lisa has graciously accepted to be available to do that for y'all. So we will go down to fundraising milestones. All right. Yep. So you've heard me speak about this a little bit in email correspondence. The first fundraising milestone is this upcoming Saturday, and I don't want that to frighten anybody. These milestones were put in place by our charity partner, Susan Hurley, charity team's partner, Susan Hurley, just to help you guys stay focused on getting to certain fundraising stakes in the ground. If you don't get to that certain amount by that particular date, it is not detrimental. You're not going to be kicked off the team. There's no major consequences. It's just to help you stay focused. So we're hoping that you can reach out to your networks as an initial push to raise up to $3,000 by January 15th. The marathon, as you know, was April 18th. So we kind of squished 2 marathons in one fiscal year this year. So they seem to like it's coming up really fast. So that's why we have this in place. It's just a way to help you out, to keep you focused on your fundraising efforts. So the next fundraising milestone will be March 15th. And we talked about adding in sort of an incentive, a team incentive, a little bit of fun team competitive reach. Whomever reaches their goal first, potentially, there may be an incentive, and there'll be more information on that upcoming in the next week or so. And then $10,000 by April 14th is where we would like you to try to, you know, get to your fundraising to the $10,000 commitment most of you have made, or more than that. If you have made a commitment higher than that, or if you are doing great in your fundraising and you can extend beyond your $10,000 minimum, we're reaching for April 14th. So as you know, when you submit an application and you register through the BAA, your credit card will go on file on your Give and Gain page. And anyone that does not meet their fundraising commitments by mid-May-ish could be subject to a balance being processed on your credit card. We definitely want to avoid that. So we're going to support you in all of your fundraising efforts. Katie Johnson, Spencer Johnson is great at helping out with your marketing, with your fundraising. We're all here to help out with tips. Use the hashtags, use the charity team's hashtag, and we're going to promote your stories or in your efforts through our own social media channels. So you're not on your own. We are definitely here to help you and completely ready to do so and happy to do so.
Well, I have two things real quick. So one thing, if there is anyone who is not part of Susan Hurley's Facebook group, I would highly recommend joining, because there's a lot of people, you know, she supports, I think, 30 or 40 charities. And so there's so many people who are sharing ideas on how to fundraise. So if you're struggling with what should I do for a fundraising event or fundraising ideas, that's a great resource. The other thing too, if you have an opportunity to work with Katie on a social media takeover, I know that I didn't have an opportunity to do that, but Chiemi did. And it's a really great experience. It gains a lot of interest from, you know, potential donors. So I would highly recommend maybe scheduling some time with her to talk a little bit more about the details about that.
Thank you, Lisa. Awesome points. Yes, absolutely. And while we're talking about joining a Facebook group, if you haven't joined the Team Hope Facebook group, it's a private group just for our Team Hope members. Please make sure that you do that too. We will be sending any updates, sharing information, reminders. So that's also going to be real helpful if you're out there on the Team Hope private Facebook group. And that'll come up again in the next slide or so. So this, save the date, February 26th. That's just a little bit more than a month away. Susan Hurley has 2 charity team runs that she facilitates, and you're all welcome to join. They're a lot of fun. The Superhero 17, you'll dress up as your favorite superhero, along with all the other runners that are out in that training run that day. So that is February 26th, and we're shooting to have potentially some presence there to cheer you on and to cheer you on your training efforts. So I know that you're all local except for you, Nelson, but everybody's welcome to join in on these training runs. The next one is the Hop 21 on March 26th. We'll be getting a little bit warmer. And then save the date for April 16th, 2 days before the marathon. And come to the pavilion that I mentioned. We're going to host a pasta luncheon. And we would love to meet you all in person, show you hope. Our members will be there. And we're just going to fill you up with pasta and have a great time. So we're hoping to see you all there while you're traveling to Boston in preparation for the run. And we'll move on to next steps. Okay, so these are important next steps. Some of you have already done these things, but I just want to refresh what we need to do. Update your Give and Gain fundraising page. So you've all gone in and established a fundraising page with a photo in your story. If there's any updates or refreshers that will keep your page fresh, you know, just make sure that you check back in on it every now and again. We would love to have from you a 2-paragraph bio or so, something concise, and a headshot and a running shot in high resolution format that we can feature on our website and our social media to help promote you. So if you haven't sent over your headshots, some of you have, some of you still need to, that's fine. Just get them over when you can. The sooner you have them, we would like to put together a collage, sort of like what you see up there, the Team Hope collage of all the letters. We're gonna put your faces in there, put everybody in as one team group, and start to be able to promote that. So as soon as we get those headshots from you, we'll be able to create that and you'll be able to use it too. The BAA, on January 6th, I registered each of you to get a communication from the John Hancock group to register for the Boston Athletic Association. That's your waiver for your bib. It aligns you to your bib number. A couple of you have done that already. A couple of you still need to do that, which is fine. If you need me to resend that email, I can do that. Just let me know. But it's important that you do register. There's a $370 fee, and you have until February 10th to register. If you don't register by February 10th, you won't have the ability to register for your bib. So super important. So if you do need me to resend that email to you, no problem, let me know, I can do that. But definitely make sure that stays on your radar. Let's see. Our Team Hope Facebook group. We just covered that. There's the link. Make sure you guys join. Let's see. And raise the minimum commitment of 10,000 or more by May 19th to avoid any charges on your credit card. And then be prepared to run 26.2 miles on April 18th. We will be there to cheer you on, and we can't wait. Okay, so fundraising tips. So these are a few ideas to help get you started with fundraising. Like I said earlier, we'll follow up later to see if you want to connect with a panel with Lisa and Shami to get their insider advice. But here's some tips. Review the fundraising plan that you submitted in your application. So you already thought about how you want to approach this. So, re-review that. Like I said, don't be overly afraid of the $3,000 January 15th milestone, but it's there for a reason, just to make sure that you guys are staying on track. Take the time to draft and personalize a thoughtful letter. Lisa had mentioned this too, speak from your heart, know your audience, create a list of people in your network to solicit family, friends, colleagues, groups. Also, if you or your spouse works for a company that has employee matching, you might want to look into that. And, for X $1,000, if they match that, it could really help you out. Another thing to think about is Lisa, and she can talk about this at another time. She brought in a sponsor that sponsored her specific fundraising, and that helped her fundraising efforts. So that's something else that you could think about. If that's something that you're interested in, reach out to me, and we have some information on the benefits and the levels for sponsorship, if that's something you're looking to do. We also, as Hope, are reaching out for sponsors to benefit our team overall. So we're looking to bring in some sponsors, and we'll keep you updated as we get a sponsor in. We're shooting for 3. The sponsor logos go in the singlets you'll be wearing when you cross the finish line. So that's really interesting to some organizations. I think this is going to be a banner year for exposure for Marathon. We'll have a lot of sponsors probably interested. So more information on sponsorship. If you're interested in attaining a sponsor and you want more information, please reach out to me. If you're mailing a letter, this is a great tip, and Katie Spencer Johnson offered this one. Include a self-addressed stamped return envelope. So if you're including a letter, include an envelope where they can send back a donation to you or to me. So if you do get a check, you can add it, you can deposit it and then add it yourself onto your Giving Gain, or you can have checks forwarded right to me, and I'll add them on as an offline donation on your fundraising page on your behalf. And include your personal fundraising link in your email signature. So if there's a little blurb that you want to put in your email signature that, hey, guess what, I'm running the Boston Marathon, any contributions would, help this cause. Get your word out there that way. That's also a great idea. The next page is virtual fundraising tips. Katie, do you want to take this one and give me a break? Give me a little break from talking? Or is it Karen that?
Yeah, I'm happy to jump in, or if Karen wants to jump in.
Thank you.
I certainly, I'm happy to jump in.
Go
Hello,
for it.
everyone. Excuse me? No, okay. Again, congratulations, and I'm so excited that you have picked the right charity. And so just now is time to sort of look at some of your fundraising tips and how we, again, can help you. And in many ways, I'd like to think that maybe we just have to break it down to your fundraising plan that you submitted on your application. So this might be a really good time to sort of think about what you anticipate to meet your fundraising strategies and goals. And typically in the fundraising realm, it is typically composed, your fundraising is typically composed of events, your social media posts, your email blasts, and even some of the snail mail with sending out a fundraising letter, maybe with a QR code or something that can be connected with the Giving Gain, your Giving Gain page. But what I'd like to identify here is another way. I know that we're going to be talking about the social media posts that Katie will share in just a moment, but I'd like to look at other ways that you might be able to, we're going to go back to the virtual. Okay, so with COVID and the constraints that we are having on these one-to-one connections, consider using your virtual type of events which can be used on any of these type of platforms. And they're a fun way to be able to gain momentum in that sort of way. This, it's difficult to see, but when we send you the power of the slide, you'll see that you may want to create a calendar that provides some challenges for some of your entertaining tasks. I don't know, Lisa, did you ever have the opportunity to do something like this? I think Katie Spencer Johnson did. And maybe you could speak to that, Katie, or whoever may have done that before, to see how helpful that was.
I've certainly done it, not on behalf of Hope, but I've done virtual bingo. I've done, squares for football, which are super popular to do and especially to run it on social. I think also taking advantage of video content. So if you're out on a run, capturing, you running or talking about training or talking about how much you're looking forward to eating breakfast on a 12-miler or 20-miler. I think it's all, pretty valuable to, to leverage the virtual spaces. And I think folks are a little concerned about virtual burnout. But I think, we can get creative and certainly, leverage some of these tools to your benefit for fundraising. So.
Katie, I'm going to hop in here real quick. So if you all decide to do like a fundraising video and you happen to pair it with music, be careful of the different social media platform rules, because I ran into a couple of issues where I had this great video and it had great sound and I couldn't use it because it was like copyright infringement, which I wasn't trying to do, but I had to use, I think, the iPhone generic terrible music, which it was horrible. But just be mindful of that depending on your platform. I think Instagram has updated. I have the old version of Instagram, so I think you're able to share some.
Yep.
Katie, keep me honest.
Yep.
I think you can
Yeah,
share.
Yeah.
So just definitely read up on that before you take the time and effort to make a video.
Or talk to me. I think recording a native app is super helpful, so you won't run into copyright infringement. If you're looking to cross promote, i.e. you're filming on Instagram and you want to run it through Twitter or Facebook, just be aware of what Lisa's saying. Instagram and Facebook are obviously connected, so you're not going to run into infringement there. If you are pulling from TikTok into Twitter, for example, you're going to run into challenges. Twitter's cracking down on TikTok repurposing. So I would think about your audience first and foremost. Where are they? How do they leverage social? And then build your content on that platform and let it kind of hang out in that space. And I'm happy I could talk about this all day, so I'm not going to, but there's certainly opportunities to leverage content across channels, and we can get into that as we go along. But
yeah, and if there's interest in expounding on those topics for utilizing social or digital assets and what works, we can set up a separate call with Katie, and Katie can drive that and give you all the tips of the trade, what you need to know and what to avoid and what works. So you can just let us know and we'll help you support that and schedule that for you. Right, Katie? Speaking on behalf of your time. Right. She's all in. All right. So, and then just standard fundraising events. From what we understand, and we're being very hopeful that, a lot of restrictions will become more lenient as we get over this, hurdle that we're going through with the pandemic right now. But we're hopeful as we get closer to April that it's going to start lightening up and things will get better. And as they do, it might be a good opportunity. There's plenty of entertainment and locations that are looking to book. So if you're comfortable with that, or even if you do it in a small or outdoor setting, just secure a location early on and ask that venue to support you by providing food and beverage, maybe as an in-kind contribution, or waiving your rental fee, or just see if there's some way that they can collaborate or work with you to make it easier for you to fundraise at their venue. To create a theme, create a Facebook or an Eventbrite site to support your event. So you can do a Facebook event, you can do live on Facebook at your event. Have a friend stand at the door to collect an entry fee or sell an opportunity for a drawing ticket if you have something you want to raffle off. Perhaps $25 per guest contribution as they come in. Leverage and network and social media, which Katie just talked about. Customize flyers. Canva is a good way to create flyers and digital assets and posters. And some event ideas, which Karen had noted, is hosting a fitness class because you're, an athlete. So maybe spin, maybe some, a walking group or, a hike or hosting something. Organize a cornhole tournament. So an activity where everybody can get together, a cocktail party, a wine tasting, a beer tasting, your network and what they like to do. So this is your opportunity to get creative, choose a venue and see if that venue can work with you. Leveraging social media and marketing for your fundraising. Katie, if you want to go down to that one and talk to your bullet points there.
Yep, I'm happy to. I just also wanted to chime in on the flyer. If you are looking to create some Canva flyers and or would like templates, I'm happy to provide those. We also, in the resource, the social media toolkit, there are the Hope logos. So you have permission to utilize those logos. Please don't stretch them or change the colors or anything like that. But you already have those tools available. So if you do decide to create a flyer, that you can definitely utilize the Team Hope logo as well. So speaking towards social media, we've already kind of touched on a little bit of this. Obviously making it super easy to donate. So including your URL at any given moment in time if you are on social. This could be a link in your bio on Instagram, a link on Facebook. This could be every post. I would also say leveraging Instagram stickers. Instagram just rolled out, well, not just, but 6 months ago rolled out fundraising stickers. So you can definitely tie that into your fundraising as well as URL stickers. So now in stories, you can actually include a URL, which is fantastic. Certainly, as Lisa mentioned, make sure that you're thanking people profusely. I find that on social, when we're super focused on fundraising, sometimes we forget to pause and say thank you. So acknowledging your donors on a frequency. I would also say to frequency, being super consistent, saying top of mind. So if you get really organized with how you choose to approach your social media, how you choose to approach marketing, if you think about it like you have your training calendar, you're also going to want a marketing calendar. So as you think about how you're going to reach that fundraising goal, how you're going to stay top of mind, you can actually start to slot in, okay, I'm going to send an email on Monday and I'm going to send social out on Monday. On Friday, I'm going to talk about my pre-run, stretching or nutrition. And then Sunday's my long run. I'm going to specifically on Sunday talk about my long run. So that's 3 or 4 opportunities within a week where you can talk about your fundraising. And it's not super heavy handed. There are, of course, passive ways to market, and we can talk about that. But I would also say vary your content. So looking at Instagram Reels, video, photos, thinking about lives. I'm happy to walk you through all of the nuances of those platforms. If you're not super comfortable, if you would just prefer to post, that is also an effective way to leverage social media. And the one thing I really want to reinforce with you is thinking about what makes your story unique, right? So think about how many Boston Marathon athletes there are out there, and think about what makes it what's your story, because that's what's important to us. That's what's important to your friends, to your family, is really why are you running and why are you supporting Hope? And thinking through how do you communicate that in all of your communication, not just social media. So in your conversations with folks, in your events, in your email communications. And so as we start to kind of plan this out, we start to see big picture. You're hitting multiple people with different tools at different times. And as we've said throughout the whole call, at any point in time, if you're like, this is not working, I'm not seeing the results I want to see, feel free to, hit me up. Feel free to email me, let me know how things are going, and we can sit down and have a one-on-one strategy discussion and map out how you can utilize these tools and not spend a ton of time doing it. We do have the As Lisa mentioned, we do offer the social media takeover. So for an entire day, I will give you the Hope Instagram account and let you go have fun. So I'll give you some parameters, of course, and I'll be there to help. But basically, we'll be able to, you can do a takeover, any way that I can help kind of make this easier and help you really leverage these tools to the best of their ability. So.
Katie, I'm going to jump in real quick.
Yeah.
I think also too, you have to be persistent with folks because this is not top of mind for them. And in both experiences that I had for 2020 and 2021, a lot of people would say, oh yeah, I totally want to donate, but they were in the middle of doing something. And then a day goes by, 2 days goes by, a week goes by. So you have to have that drive to follow up, you know, and don't think that you're bothering them. Like they've made a commitment to you. They're like, oh, I totally want to support you. Just realize that sometimes it takes 2 and 3 times, which, you know, is the not so fun part of fundraising, unfortunately. But, you know, a lot of people, because it's not top of mind, as I said, they will come around and they will say, oh yeah, I did mention I was going to do that. Let me go take care of that now. And then you have your donations, which is great.
Yeah, that's
Easy,
a super.
creating,
Go ahead, Paula.
so creating a QR code, and if you know you're not familiar on how to do that, Katie can help with that as well. But that's just when you hold your phone over with the camera open, and it links you directly to your Giving Gain page, making it really easy for people to just end up where you want them to go.
Yeah, that's particularly helpful for print collateral, for sure. I think there's so many different opportunities for you to, you know, connect the dots between your messaging and how people can donate, ease of donation. The other point that I wanted to bring up connecting to Lisa's conversation is just because you're posting, you know, once or twice on social, a couple of times, you know, a week, that doesn't mean that everyone's going to see it. If you think about the algorithms that go into play, this is super nerdy, but certain folks are going to see your content and other folks are not going to see it at all. So while you might feel like you're completely hammering people over the head with your marketing or your communications about your marathon, it's very valuable to kind of plan out a frequency and a consistency and to follow up with folks and to continue those conversations.
And isn't there some sort of rule on Facebook that you can't use the word donate or something that you're, because of the algorithm, like you have to be creative in how you're asking for money, essentially?
Yeah, so that only really applies for event-driven focus. Facebook is actually a little bit more open-ended in terms of the algorithm. So if you do utilize words like donate or give or support, you're not going to get hit with the algorithm as hard. It really only impacts if you're sharing as an organization. So Facebook is all about reach and engagement related to individuals on Facebook versus brands on Facebook. So Facebook wants the conversation to be about between individuals and less about brands, if that makes sense. So there's no real limitation to utilizing that kind of language. But I think that's why it's helpful to kind of sit down and have specific conversations related to your marketing. Great. Yeah,
All right.
and I think
Thank you.
Paula, Q&A.
Lots of information here. So hopefully you're finding this all useful and not too much at once. But bottom line is we really just want to help you out. And if you have any questions, anything you learned tonight or anything in the welcome packet, any questions about registering for your waiver through the BAA or anything at all, feel free to ask us now. So we're unmuting everybody and go ahead and.
I actually have a question, and this is directed to our Team Hope athletes. And my question is regarding your own individual strategies with regard to fundraising and what that composite, you know, what your plan is. Are you going to primarily be using social media? Is it going to be events? Maybe it is you're going to use corporations as a great source of funds. And I'm just curious so that we can kind of get a vibe as to what all of you folks are planning.
Volunteer. I've got we've got a charity through our law firm that handles our donations to the organizations like yours that support our kiddos, families we represent. And so my office manager, Nicole, is lead on our strategy and is helping me where I am tech incompetent, and is listening in to the call. I didn't figure out how to get her a link properly, but yeah, I blew
Hi,
it.
Nicole.
So yeah, I've got a lot of help. And so that's my strategy. I felt really incompetent in doing it just on my own, and frankly, probably overscheduled in trying to do it on my own, even with all the support you're offering. And so I've enlisted another human being who is very competent to help me. That's my strategy. Nicole.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, I think it's helpful for the Hope team as we support you through this process, that we really do understand the needs that you have, and that we are developing a blueprint that identifies very specific areas that you may need more support than others. Maybe it is helping to write a fundraising letter, or maybe it is a social media post, maybe it is in fact how do you ask for matching dollars from a corporation, and also with all of the virtual and in-person events that there are out there, what might be the best strategy for you. So again, just from my perspective, and looking at it from the fundraising and as well as the stewardship side, I want to make sure that at least we are identifying some areas of support that you might need. And anybody else want to share what's kind of strategy they have, and do you think that you might need a different type of strategy based upon your initial application, now that you really are in the have dived in?
I started with email to people that I know, and I did 2 days so far, and I got from 54 emails, 8 donated. So it's just the beginning. So, but it seemed
That was
to work.
successful.
It's a great start.
I had a question. If donations go directly to Hope, can you assign them to the Give and Gain account?
Yes, I will
Okay.
get your check in, and if it's noted on there that it's for you, I will add it as a back-end donation to your specific fundraising page, any of you.
Okay.
So those are called offline donations. Yeah. And
And then also, again, moving forward as developing that QR code for you, I think will also be very helpful. So you can put that in all of your communication. And that's something that's easy to.
So, Karen, just curious, what is the difference between the QR code you're proposing and the one which is generated on Give and Gain? Is there an advantage to use a different QR code?
No, I mean, the QR code, looks like Katie wants it to chime in there. Do you want to chime in, Katie?
Yeah, if Give and Gain provides you a QR code, you can utilize that for sure.
Okay, so it's the same idea, right? Get you to that
It goes
page.
directly.
Okay, so they do generate one when on the page, so that's what I've been using for the past.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
totally fine.
Perfect.
Okay.
But you may be able to, you may want to be able to just take put that QR code in other types of collateral. And
They
that's
do let you download it, so you can download
yeah,
it.
it's more for that call to action, if you will, so that as Lisa's point was made, that when someone says, oh geez, yeah, I'm going to go home and I'm
Yeah.
going to take care of it, that's not a problem when it goes right, they can scan it from, and go right into, they can process that donation immediately.
Yeah, QR codes are super helpful, as we know. They've kind of swung back into popularity due to COVID, but super even popular at events. So if you have folks like, hey, I want to donate, you're like, hey, take the QR code, go. Like literally have them do it in front of you right there. It's a really helpful way to get your URL out. Obviously, you can embed the URL in other capacities as well.
Yeah. Anyone
And
else?
I think that's new for Give and Gain. I think that's a new thing for Give and Gain this year.
Yeah, I did last year. I don't know. I know they changed platform in between the BAs. So.
Yeah, right.
So maybe I'm good.
You're doing the right thing. Does anybody else want to share about their strategy or their approach to fundraising or what they've started to do? Zoe, I noticed a lot of contributions coming in on your behalf.
I was just going to say, I started using just social media, and then I was looking to plan actually 1 or 2 events to hopefully be able to secure more donations. I noticed that you guys had mentioned the, is it Soul Cycle that you guys mentioned that they do charity rides?
A
Yeah.
spin class or soul
Yeah,
cycle
so I had-
anywhere like that.
I just started looking into that, and then just possibly something else. I'm still working, and then I noticed the Super Bowl was something that I was thinking of using too, just because I know a lot of people like doing the squares.
Yeah, we've actually created a square digital asset that works like squares, football squares. We used it for a different purpose,
Mhm.
but we might be able to share that out with you as something that you could modify.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
we can share that in advance of the Super Bowl for sure. One of the other events that I've seen that's relatively popular for folks to do is to like custom sell your own shirts. So like you create t-shirts for your training, and there's no expense to you. You just kind of design something and sell it. So yeah, cool.
Throw a QR code on that.
No. Follow your
Come on,
QR code, Gracie.
QR code. Get them to the link.
But the events don't have to, they really don't have to be very fancy. So whether it's, it is hosting a dinner party, or, just having, having a party at a restaurant. There's just so many different ways that you can connect with potential donors face to face, and they don't have to be large gatherings.
One thing I saw recently, at least locally, is that some venues are actually advertising for runners to set up some fundraising events. So Widowmaker Brewing, the South Shore is hosting. It just put out a call to action for athletes to take over the brewery for a day. So I think there are some venues that are absolutely most are open to hosting events, but I would say, especially during COVID, with COVID considerations, some of them are actively looking to recruit athletes. So just an FYI there.
And did you say that you guys are looking for sponsors?
They're going to inquire to see if there are some supporters and organizations that might be interested in sponsoring. So we don't have anything
Corporate.
yet.
It's more
But yeah.
corporate.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Who
And it would
was
be
your
for
someone
the
you-
team overall, as opposed to the specific athletes on the team.
I was just gonna say I might have a business that's interested, but I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to double check. But just to know that you guys are looking for it is good.
Yeah, so there's space on the singlets that you'll be wearing as you run across the marathon line, and we'll have space for their logo depending on how much they want to contribute or sponsor. So we could talk more about that if you're interested. We'll talk more.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have questions? Fundraising,
Just-
training, next steps?
Yeah, one platform I've shied away just due to the nature is LinkedIn. I heard, Lisa, you leverage LinkedIn. Any chance you would anyone share the message you put on LinkedIn? I always been afraid of using that platform as a fundraising platform, but
I did it very briefly because that's more of like professional content.
and that's why but
Yeah, I would use that very sparingly. Like, I happen to get a couple $100 in donations. But again, I think I did it once or twice.
okay.
Maybe like several weeks in between. It certainly wasn't on any regular cadence. So,
Okay.
but yeah, I share your concerns about this is professional. This is not quite the avenue.
Same, but I do know a lot of people would that I couldn't reach otherwise, but the platform itself has scared me as that type of tool.
Do
And
that.
also, I was going to mention about just the matching program. So, and that's where I think LinkedIn can be a really great resource. So that because of the many large corporations, that do have matching programs. So even if you are seeking support and trying to get information about, to others about the potential of a matching program, I mean, my goodness, you know, you could get twice as much money, you know, for that, you know, through that one ask. So
I would also say you can leverage direct messaging on LinkedIn, so you don't necessarily have to do a very public post. I wouldn't share, you know, training details. But I would certainly, you know, speak towards contacts, doing direct messaging. I've seen
Okay.
success with, you know, directly going after specific folks and sending just very specific language. And I'm happy to help with that language. You know, if there is, you know, an ask that you want to make on LinkedIn, Karen, I think it's a super smart idea to explore matching opportunities, both within your organization and of course outside. So.
and because
So,
that is a business you know, because that is a professional platform, you know, it is one strategy that may actually be your best bang for the buck.
Does Twitter make any chance to get something on Twitter? I mean, all I see is political stuff.
Yeah, I think on Twitter, like you can. I didn't really use it just from my own experience, but I think everyone is different. You know, if you happen to use it a lot, then go for it. But it can be a good avenue to try.
So when
You have to
when
be so consistent. I mean,
wow, but when you think about your social media networks, I think you need to think about who is the audience that you have cultivated on those networks. So for example, me personally, I'm super heavy on Twitter. I'm super heavy on Instagram. Facebook is kind of dedicated to some of my friends and family, so I'll post there. LinkedIn, less so for me. So if it was me personally, I would say, okay, I'm going to focus on Twitter messaging, Instagram content for training, Facebook occasionally, and then LinkedIn for those direct messages. So I would definitely say, as you start to think about your marketing, think about who is there and who you want to speak to. Twitter is difficult, as Karen said, because it's such a fast moving platform. You're going to have to stay top of mind. But
more for awareness though, wouldn't you say? You know, is just more of these pings of,
and you can do pinned tweets and things like that to keep your, you know, somebody who's randomly coming to your page. I would say it's highly dependent upon how you leverage social and the people that you follow there.
I'm not on Facebook anymore, so I basically only have Instagram. And I mean, people like my posts there, but they're not donating because it's complicated. You have to go in the bio and then click the link there.
Yeah, so Instagram's a little tricky. Yep. So you can use the bio to click through. I would say from an Instagram perspective, using Instagram stories and using the URL sticker. So then if you're creating a story, you utilize that sticker and it's just a click straight through to your donation page. Yeah, Facebook, I'm not surprised that you're off of it, to be honest, but I think if we want to talk through some other strategies, social media, I want to stress, is just one aspect of a marketing tool set for you. So just because we're talking about social media a lot today, that doesn't mean that, you know, your marketing might be 90% email communication, or, you know, and then social might be 20% of your time. That math does not work, I'm sorry. But I would certainly say, you know, looking at your own, you know, kind of space where you're most comfortable. Some folks are really not comfortable sharing, you know, all their life and all their personal information on social. So that's okay. So lean more heavily on events, in-person communication, frequency of email communication. And you can utilize Instagram, like Lisa said, for, you know, DMing folks. You don't have, or direct messaging folks, you do not need to utilize it to, you know, constantly share content out. You can certainly use it as a platform for communication versus, you know, being a content creator. If that makes sense.
you may also, you know, I mean, again, depending on who your audience is and what you are comfortable using, you may establish your own website. I mean, a free website, whatever. I mean, you could think of many different ways that were all just mentioned to be whatever you're most comfortable, you know, again, most comfortable doing. And maybe if it's a website that speaks about your many years of doing your marathons, and sharing stories and you know, in that way, that's another way that I've seen can work.
Yeah, you definitely could host a blog. You could do a vlog on
blog is- yeah.
YouTube. You could do so much. So I would just say, like I said, it's just really tied to where you can invest the time. And I think right now the balance for training is, you know, you're training for the marathon. You have a, you know, full-time jobs. You have your own life, and then you have to factor in a little bit of this marketing. So even if you cherry pick one or two things to focus on, you're still going to be successful. So, you know, I don't want you to take away from this meeting, you know, oh my God, now I need to go and create Instagram stories and reels, and I have to master YouTube and, you know, whatever. Certainly think through what feels most at scale for you, given the time that you have. And I'm certainly happy to talk through that with you. So you know, there's a ton of resources and a ton of support. And it's certainly a matter of what can you handle. And we can again talk through all of that at another time, but yeah.
And definitely defer to that welcome kit that has all kinds of great digital assets that you can drop into emails or social media, use the hashtags, and we'll continue to push that out through our social networks too.
And there's language already pre-built in the kit. So, you know, you don't have to write anything. We've already kind of done it for you.
Yeah. So definitely rely on that. If you have questions or you want us to review something that you're putting out, you just want to get a second, you know, opinion on it, just feel free to shoot it over to us. We're happy to help and support that.
Yep.
Do we have any other questions? We had you for about over an hour now, so I really appreciate your time tonight. I hope this was helpful. Wanted to reinforce that we are here when you need us. You'll be hearing more from us soon. And just to reinforce some next steps, please do get your bios and your headshots and your running images over in high-res format. Please do register with the BAA, and if you need that email to register again, let me know and I'll resend it out to you through the BAA. It comes from them and John Hancock. Keep on the lookout from us. We'll send a follow-up email to this tomorrow with the link to this recording and some ideas for, you know, getting a panel brief with Lisa and Hiemi, our prior athletes on Team Hope, to help you, or a social media session with Katie to expound on this a little bit further and maybe set up your marketing cadence and your marketing calendar over the next 90 days. If you have any questions or need additional information that we didn't cover today, you know how to find me. I'm happy to help, and we'll do whatever we can to support. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody. So nice to see your faces.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Gonna be great. Thank you. We'll be in touch soon. Have a great night.
Go Team
Good
Hope.
evening.